Hello, and thank you for watching this regional forecast update for the Canadian Prairie. I'm Andrew Pritchard, Senior Meteorologist with Nutrien Ag Solutions. We've got some bitter cold air just off to our north and to our east, but the good news is as we head over the next 1 to 2 weeks, most of that cold air is going to be staying off to our north and to our east as we see a storm track that's going to come in from kind of northwest to southeast here. So I'm drawing the forecast on the temperature map here, but the forecast is over the next couple of weeks an active pattern that could see temperature swings day to day, but generally warmer than average precipitation and not a whole lot in the way of additional snow coming over the next 7 days. So there's your kind of good news here to tee up this forecast. There's just still quite a bit of snow on the ground here along Highway 16, kind of between 16 and 1 as you go from Edmonton down to Calgary, down through Saskatoon, through Regina, and kind of between those areas. We're starting to kind of thin out in some of the lower lying areas as you get closer to the U.S. border, and then certainly as you head off toward the east, over toward the Winnipeg area. We haven't seen quite the heavy snowfall early in the season. Now, as we look at the satellite picture, probably no one's seeing any sunshine here across the Prairie provinces as we get started on our Monday morning. Got some very strong jet stream flow coming in across the Rockies here, some thick cloud cover across southern Alberta, spreading into central and southern Saskatchewan, and then a mixed bag of high and low level cloud cover as you go around across the remainder of the Prairie provinces. A little bit of very light snow possible across southern Alberta this morning, and then again, that's going to be the name of the game over the next couple of days, a chance for some flurries for just about everyone, but it's unlikely that we're going to see much in the way of accumulation here. So as we head through the day today, likely just going to be a cloudy day, not expecting much in the way of snowfall. Same thing as we head through the overnight, though there's a chance for a couple flurries as you get over towards southeastern and east central Manitoba. So I'm talking about the Winnipeg area, maybe a few snowflakes overnight. We'll head through a mostly dry, cloudy day again tomorrow. And then as we get into Wednesday, there's a system that makes its way through that could bring some light flurries to the region. Again, not expecting accumulation with this, just as it makes its way through the area from west to east, kind of during the Wednesday into Wednesday night time frame. Don't be surprised to see some snowflakes falling. But here's the raw output from our NAM model, the North American model. Total snow between now and Thursday afternoon. And again, we're picking up here, this thing is putting out, between a trace and 1 centimeter. So we can call that some flurries with no accumulation expected here south of Highway 16. Now, here's the jet stream pattern as we head through the next 7 days. And I bet the pattern kind of jumps out to you. And it's a series of waves just kind of riding through this corridor, taking this northwest to southeast track from the Chukchi Sea through the Aleutian Islands, down through the Gulf of Alaska into the Pacific Northwest, and then down into the central United States. So what that means, we keep our cold air up here, and we actually get some ridging at times as these systems make their way through. Additionally, most of the precipitation, Pacific moisture, is going to be wrung out here over the high elevations of British Columbia into the Pacific Northwest, and then we're going to tap into Gulf of Mexico moisture here across the Midwest. So the Canadian Prairie, the Prairie provinces end up a little bit drier, especially across the ag belt. As we look at the next 7 days, total precipitation anomaly on the right, and then your temperature anomaly forecast over on the left. Again, you can see we're not going to be baking by any stretch of the imagination. It's certainly the last week of November, and we've still got a lot of snow on the ground in some of these areas. But the good news is we don't have any advertised serious push of cold air in the next 7 to 10 days. If anything, we're going to be dealing with, again, a little bit in the way of slightly warmer conditions across the Prairie, at least relatively speaking to where we've been over the last 3 to 4 weeks. So again, a little bit warmer than average, even though we may see some of those temperature swings. And then as we talk about precip, the heaviest expected north of Highway 16, areas south of Highway 16 likely going to be on the drier side over the next week. And so we can look at the 1,000 to 500 millibar height thickness, and this kind of just outlines the pattern for us once again. You can see this very wavy pattern as we get going here into the next week, and that's what I'm talking about right here, just this kind of wavy pattern. We get a little bit of ridging in advance on some of these storm systems. That leads to a little push of warmth. We get some cold air coming in on the backside, but again, we're just kind of bringing in slightly cooler air from the backside. We don't have that much in the way of cold air stored as you move your way back toward the north into the west, toward the Northwest Territories, toward Alaska, up toward the Chukchi Sea. Again, we don't have a lot of cold air to be tapping into in that area. This isn't the pattern that would do that. So it's going to be a bit of a bumpy ride as far as, day-to-day temperature swings as you see ridging, and then, we get a cold front will swing through. We get ridging in advance of the next system. Another cold front swings through. We get ridging in advance of the next system. Another cold front swings through. So we get this rhythm. It's a very rhythmic and flowing pattern here. But as we look at the moisture content within the atmosphere, again, we're pulling in some Pacific moisture, generally wringing that out here, though, in the higher elevations off to our west. So we'll bring some of that in at times, enough for some flurries. But our two active corridors here are going to be kind of on the left and the right of us here across the Prairie ag belt. So here's your verbatim precipitation forecast from the European operational model. Again, expecting a cloudy day today, a cloudy day tomorrow, a chance for some light snow as we head through the day on Wednesday. A little system swings through. We should dry out for the day on Thursday. Maybe another chance for some flurries here as we get toward the weekend here. A system swings through Saturday into Sunday that could bring some light moisture with it. But I just showed you your next 6 days, and there's not a whole lot to talk about in the way of focused precipitation across the prairie. So here's your next 7 days. Total liquid precip on the left, total snowfall forecast on the right. And again, the prairie provinces here, the Canadian Prairie, the ag belt, I should say, the southern portion of Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, into the northern plains of the United States, going to be one of the drier areas here over the next 7 to 10 days as we just, again, a lot of the precipitation here most, again, I'll try not to speak in such certain terms here. Most of the precipitation being wrung out toward the west across the Rockies, coastal portions of British Columbia, the Pacific Northwest, and then another corridor of heavier precip over the next week down toward the Midwest of the United States, where it has been really quiet, really dry over the last 3 to 4 weeks. So sort of just shifting and adjusting the pattern across North America as we head into the last week of November. So here's your temperature forecast in Calgary. Again, a little bit warmer than we've been over the last 2 to 3 weeks, but still a bit bumpy at times with some of these swings. Again, -3 today in Medicine Hat, 3 on Wednesday, down to 0 on Thursday, back to 5 on Friday. Saskatoon, here's your next 10 days. Regina, still got some snow on the ground here and in Saskatoon. Here's your next 10 days. And then Winnipeg, hovering right around 0, give or take a couple of degrees each day here as we head into, again, the last week of November. I hope you have a great start to your week. We'll be back to talk to you again on Wednesday morning. That'll be our last Canadian regional forecast here for the week. Again, Nutrien. It'll be a holiday down here for us in the U.S. on Thursday and Friday, so we won't have new video content for you on those days, just as a quick heads up.